Hey, grace and peace, bosses. No, I said I'd be back at 8 o'clock. I was trying to be on time. Hope all y'all is well. This is just live for open discussion. Any questions, anything that you would like to mention, bring up, any events for business, any product reviews, anything you want. This is an open discussion. You can feel free to speak. If you would like to come on, you do not have to show your face. If you just want something to say, I'm fine with that. Let's see. I hope y'all are doing good this evening. Let's see. Just gonna tag somebody that I actually wanted to speak. Let's see. Where's the name? Here we go. How y'all doing? Again, anything y'all want to discuss, any topics, anything, any businesses to promote, you can just write it in the comments. Um, like I said, we are in an open discussion. Um, what's going on, big brother Emmanuel? What's going on out there? Hope you're doing well. I know you was at the rest stop last time. I know you out there on the road. Be safe out there, big brother. Mhm. So again, this is just open discussion. Anything you need to say, speak, events coming up, um, just let us know. I won't keep the line open too long. Um, give me just a minute here. Okay, I'm just going to give this a few more minutes for some people to come in. Sorry, I'm still doing a bit of work here. Please excuse me. Brother Emmanuel, if you on, jump right on. Just let me know. I can send you the invite actually. All right, so I'm just gonna get this sent right to you now. Where is this messenger at? So I just sent the link to you, brother Emmanuel, if you in here, so you able to come on if you want to. Again, open discussion. Any questions, any events you would like to bring out, anything you want to mention, topic to discuss, it is all open mic. You don't have to get on video or nothing like that, but you are free to speak, whatever it is that you would like. All right, so I'm just doing a little bit of work out here on the Facebook. Big shout out to everybody that rocked with me earlier with the earlier live, and I know we was kind of discussing answer phrases um, and how you sound on the phone for your business. So I thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all can go check that video out. A lot of good information in there, especially if you haven't been in the virtual assistant world before or don't know nothing about it. Very good video with some good information on it. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna have to shout out a few businesses while I'm up here. Let me see. Big shout out to Trippy Mays. She's another sister that's really, really good with the jewelry. I know she makes full body harnesses, earrings are really, really dope. She's really unique with her materials, so definitely want y'all to check out her. I've been following her for some time as well. She's also another boss that I really, really rock with. Um, Trying to tag her in this. Of course, the tagging ain't the same. But yeah, that's Trippy Maze. You definitely want to check her out. Um, Give me just a sec here, y'all. All right, so I just tagged the assistant on this video. Like I said, her name is Trippy Maze. Really good jewelry, all custom. Um, yeah, y'all definitely want to check her out as well. So I'm just gonna go down the line here through these businesses. Like I said, if y'all got any questions, anything I want to bring out, y'all are free to do so. I'm about to just run down my own timeline. You're gonna see who on here, who working, what we got going on. Big shout out to Dod Jones as well. She's another one that's very active in the community. When I say community, just basically um, all the people that I know she's currently active with. Um, she makes really good moves, really out there trying to make things happen for herself and others as well. I speak to her probably on a daily. That's another one y'all want to reach out to, Miss Dod Jones. In fact, let me tag her in this as well. Let's see. Why can't I get her? Here we go. Miss Dod Jones, like I said, you definitely want to check her out. She's another one. She always have raffle events. Period. She's always out there, so y'all want to check her out as well. I just tagged her in this. Like I said, there's a lot of y'all out there with a whole lot going on, all good stuff. Big shout out to the brother Curtis A. Boyd, aka King Malachi. That brother reach out, send me information every single day for events he do. He really out there, very vocal. Brother got the real R&B spirit on him. He actually um, let me actually get a sample of his album, so big shout out to him for that. Um, and he has so much more music on the way, so much projects he doing, and like I say, he give that old R&B, the feeling, Quiet Storm, Isaac Hayes kind of vibe. So yeah, definitely want to check him out as well. Just a really good brother, making good positive music. Um, Especially if you in the old school like me, you interested in the old school R&B. Brother Curtis A. Boyd is the person to go to when it comes to that. Like I said, open discussion. Got anything to say, speak, throw it in the comments, let me know. You got an event you want me to mention, anything like that, just let me know. I just ask that y'all be active and engaged so I can be able to help out. Cause I know I do a lot of sharing, but I also want to do a little bit more hands-on, trying to do more talking and get to work more. But hope all y'all out there doing well. Um, so yeah, just gonna run down this timeline again. Sec, y'all. Where is? There we go. Also, big shout outs to Miss Rebecca Slayton. She was also on the podcast, Walking His Ways Impact Voice podcast. Um, she is the part of the Miss World Universal pageant. She's less than 2 months away from the goal we need because they're heading off to Hawaii. So I want y'all to definitely support her on that because she's doing it for the youth, and that's something really big. All of this is being done in the best of manners. So I definitely want y'all to reach out to her as well. I'm gonna just tag her in this. So, oh yeah, that's who I got to tag in here. Miss Rosalie Davis. She has a really good spa business. Here we go. I'm gonna pull up her information now. Thank y'all for tuning in. Anybody chilling with me, I appreciate that. So yeah, big shout out to Miss Rosalie Davis of I hope I'm saying this right, Kaylani House of Aesthetics. Um, it's like she is a multicultural total skincare esthetician. And I follow her work. Been following it for some time. And she make you really want to go get that spa or that self-care done. I did make a video on that. Um, really awesome. Like I said, I just can't wait till, my time come to be able to go out and actually, get one of these self-care days done. Big shout out to you, Miss I hope I'm not killing the name, Queen Shy. Um, like I said, this is all open mic. It's your time to shine. If you want to say anything, or you want to come on. Like I said, you don't have to be on video, especially if I'm not. But if you do want to say something on this, um, I'm definitely open for that. Just send a message through. I'll try to get you in on here. Just let me know if you down. Let me jump right on. We can get talking. Okay, Emmanuel, thank you for that reminder. Um, Thank you. I know you out on the road. I know you far. I don't know exactly where you at, but I know you kind of far out there. But be safe, of course. Just hit me up. You know how we do. Just hit me up when you back safe again. All right. I'm about to send an invite to you now, boss. So you can jump on. Like I say, you don't have to um be on camera, nothing like that. Okay, I just sent that off to you, boss. So like I said, feel free to join, mention what you want to mention. I know you had an interesting topic. Um, looking forward to that. But yeah, thank y'all all for hanging out with me right now. Right now, this is all just open, sheer open discussion. Any events, anything you want to mention, anything like that, just throw them in the comments. If you want to come on and say something, just let me know. You don't have to be on video. I'm not on video, so I'm not gonna force you to be on video or nothing like that. You do just want to bring anything up, just let me know. Let's see. Okay, Miss Slane, I see you about to start an event. No problem. I just try to send it out if little notifications out, if especially if I mention you. But thank you very much again for responding and support in general. Um of course, if you ain't got no time, don't worry about it. I'm mentioning you anyway. But thank you for the hard work you do. as well. Again, big shout out to Miss Rosalie Davis of Kaylani House of Aesthetics. Really good company, really good visuals of the company. Makes you feel really at home. So that's something, like I said, once I get my time, and I will definitely try to jump on that as well. Oh, Queen is on.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Good. How's your night going?
It's actually pretty good. I still don't see how I got the courage to kind of jump back on these lives, but I'm making it work.
It's
Making it
good.
work.
Out of somewhere.
Yeah. But how was your night? What's going on?
It's going pretty good. Today was my day off, so I'm just relaxing.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now I know you had a topic you wanted to discuss, so I'm down. Whatever it is.
Good. So, several years back, I started following some poly groups and some different sites and just getting insight and learning and studying the dynamics a little bit. And it's such a huge world that is not talked about much. It's like so taboo. It's like not meant to be out there, but it really is everywhere. Almost everybody I know knows somebody who's in poly relationship, and some of them are going really great.
Mm. I remember um making a mention on it earlier that I see the way it's portrayed a lot, and I think is wrong, and it just gives off the wrong message. Whereas to me, it seems like it's more poly today is more about sex than it is about children and legacy. The way things used to be back then, and
Right.
really just a lot of stuff I see is wrong to me personally. I don't think it represents it right. Um, now I, I I do know again I don't it's certain numbers, like for instance in every race there's like 2 million more women, so I don't know if since it's like that, is that the role that's supposed to happen, or is it just select people that should be doing it? So it's a lot on this topic as well, so
It's yeah, there is a lot because believe it or not, as much as people want to look at it like, oh, this is just guys' ways of having threesomes or cheating with permission, getting women with low self esteem to roll over to their will and do what they want. It's really not all like that. A lot of these women like to come together and all live together in a house, and maybe there's one man, maybe the women are also together. Some of them even share the same bed, but some of them they're raising their kids together. Some have schedules, and believe it or not, there's women that have multiple men partners, but those men don't have any other partners, nor do they see each other. I know one woman, well, actually, I know the guy personally, but there's three men, one woman, and they have been very happy for almost 10 years now. Two of them live together, the other two don't, and but they go on vacations together, they do things together, they support the kids together, they go to ball games together. So it's really a lot. And then you have the ones that are in it just for sex or just for fun, that give it a really bad name. But the amount of honesty and communication it takes to make those relationships work, especially with strong minded people, it's a lot.
yeah, you're right. It would take a lot to um as a man, if you want that done, there's certain things you got to do. There's even for women, is everybody need to sit down. That's for one thing. Everybody got to sit down, find out if it's actually worth it. Does it work? Because I can say that's more likely something that's not for just anybody. um
It's not.
it's you shouldn't, if you don't have to, there's no reason to really take it on. I don't believe so at all. If you can do it out, then hey, just do it out. But if you kind of want stuff on the side, or you want to do something, then everybody got to at least be talking, because
Yeah, it's something that you have to be really, really open about. Like, and I know that it would take two really, really special individuals for me to be able to even consider that. because most men can't even communicate well enough, and most women are not honest and open enough about their feelings, even with themselves, to know how they're going to be able to deal with it in those circumstances. So it can be really hard. But hey, I don't knock anyone's thing if it makes you happy and you're being honest, especially being someone who's been cheated on. Like, I wish those men, because those men didn't like leave me. They didn't want to be with other women. They just wanted to go out and have sex, but be able to still come home to me and keep me forever. Um, and that's just ridiculous. So for those kind of men that just want sex with multiple people, then you gotta find some kind of open relationship or stay single or do something. You just can't go around putting people's bodies at risk, you know.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And then with everything going on around here, you want to be safe anyway. But I got a question. So, what do you see as the upsides to poly?
The upsides, you have multiple people to give you love and support. You have multiple people to lean on. Like for example, in my household, I cook. I make sure everyone always eats. That's my big thing. I'm there for your feelings. I'm there for insight. I'm very supportive. So you would always have that with me. You know, you might have that person that makes you feel safe, or that's, a great caregiver, a great provider, but you can get more of that. I mean, I started dating, kind of like getting to know a couple online for a little while, and I was really interested. Ended up not ever meeting them in person. That's as far as I ever got in the poly world, but it was really nice. Both of their personalities were completely different. Um, but I could see where it would be great to have them both in my life and how they could give me different things. One of them was able to make me laugh, make me smile, bring me peace. One of them was very, I'm going to keep you grounded. We're going to, work on budgets and health and happiness and this and that. So you can just get so much from different people, just like you do, or everybody does. You have a friend or a mom or auntie or somebody, grandpa, someone that gives you advice, someone that looks out for you. We get things from different people, right? So the more, the merrier, if the people are open and honest and can get along and be on the same views. But that's just so hard now, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I like how you kind of explain that, like some of those benefits of, having an extra support system. You got an extra person to talk to when things maybe, wrong. It is a better support system. And to me, it forces a little bit more trust because you're not in just a monogamous situation. But when you're in poly, it's like, okay, this is different, but you got to go in these things with an open mind, open heart, and an intention for what you want. If you like kind of just really want to go in there and say, hey, I'm not trying to mess nothing up. Maybe y'all had something going on before me, but this is the position or role, I'm here to do. And I don't think it takes away from you, feeling that way to say, hey, you know what? Um, I want to play this part because this is what I need, and it's all communication because that's the only way that's gonna work. And and you're right, a lot of people aren't open. um you can get selfish. There's a lot of things that could happen. um but I'm happy you at least got a good outlook on it or seen the good in it, because like we say, it's portrayed as the worst thing today.
Well, what initially got me curious was having some discussions with some people that were Muslim, and we were talking about, you know, how them being would have multiple wives was a thing and how that works. And the part that was so misleading is how angry so many of them are, that so many people so loosely take on extra wives, but they don't follow the guidelines in that religion. And the guidelines are very clear about how much money you have to be making before you can even consider taking on a second wife. about the roles that you have to play as provider. So they there was a lot of upset because I think it was I don't know if it was extra 30%. Don't get me wrong about the numbers, but it was quite a bit of money that you had to already have in excess before you can continue taking on an extra wife. And the reasons behind it from their views were to save women in bad situations that needed to be married to get out of those situations. So it went much farther back to where we married for need and not for love, where we used to look for the people who had, the bigger farms, the more opportunities, the better chance of staying alive. You were looking for someone who could help keep you healthy and keep you fed back in those days. And I guess that's where they feel like it should be based off of. And so then I started reading a little bit more about that. And then I came across some poly sites and I was just amazed. And it really amazed me that there is just as many people in those sites that are cheating and lying and manipulating and how bad it is, but the relationships that are strong and healthy, those men amaze me with the amount of communication that they take. How fast they are to stop somebody if they're not respecting boundaries, if they're not being respectful. It's like all those groups of the men, like, oh, I'm okay if she has multiple women. I can bring women home, but she can't sleep with another man. Like these these people and these groups, they hate that. They get very offended. They get very upset if it's not respectful boundaries. Um, but that's not reasonable. That what you're asking for has to be what you're willing to accept.
Yeah, definitely right. It like you said, it takes that real communication because it's already an uneasy situation to begin with, and you want to have finances, and in a good point you said, how things used to be where it was about survival when it came to this. Hey, um, a woman, you see her, down, you say, hey, you know what, I want to make you a better person, I want to make you my wife, come on in. I'm sure the man and the woman both saw that kind of point of view back in the day, especially 50s 40s, where everybody was a lot more closer as a people. So
Yeah, if you actually look in history, you will see that oftentimes it would be the woman that would ask the husband if he would accept another bride because she lost her husband and has children and was in need, and that it was the, right thing to do by their faith. And so, like, so a lot of the men reluctantly agreed because what else are you going to do? You're going to leave this 16-year-old with these children alone? you know, in unsafe times. So it was kind of cool doing some reading about it.
yeah, that's definitely a good point. Now I gotta ask a question on this. Uh, okay. Now, for you, what does a man have to make for you to say, hey, you know what, I'll join this poly relationship?
I don't know. I've never been in a poly relationship, and my views is not that you have to make anything besides a hell of a lot of effort and a good plan. I don't care if I met somebody today and they were working on Taco Bell, but they were in night school and they were making business plans. I would help them build those plans. But I'm not looking for anyone to take care of me. Like that's not my thing. I've been taking care of myself since I was a teenager. Um, but I want to find somebody to build a life with. And when I say build a life, it means a future that is going to be enjoyable, that's going to be full of peace and happiness and laughter. Not mansions, not fast cars. I've never had a whole lot. I've worked for everything I've ever had, so I'm just looking for somebody to build with, that was
Uh,
one person too. I wouldn't sure, but I do think it matters of the women because there's a lot of women out there that do just want it provided for. They do want to make sure they get their mani pedis every 2 weeks and they get all those kind of things and they can drive around with flashy cars. It's just not my thing. I mean, it's
Right.
nice to feel stable. It's nice not to feel the struggle, but I can help too. I can do stuff too. You know, businesses. I
See,
mean,
I
that,
like that part right there because I gotta really say this. The amount of endurance to actually deal with somebody who would be working at Taco Bell is so little. And I feel like that's it's like the middle class is just completely, nah, y'all not the right. We don't want that. So is refreshing to hear women say, "Hey, I would actually let's struggle together. Let's build this thing together. I know it's gonna be rough times. It's gonna be the ups. It's gonna be the downs. But hey, that's what it is." And it puts you more into a realm of probability instead of possibility. Whereas you can just be making anything up if you want, but you kind of got a clear view of what you want, and it's not over the like amount of thousands of miles high of a wall just to be able to talk to you. And honestly, that's very respectable because hard work, struggle, let's start from the beginning, ground up kind of thing is definitely not in anymore. People are definitely not down. They want you to come, hey, make me a millionaire, give me all of what it's so fast now, but there's nobody that say, hey, I don't care if you got a 9 to 5. I know you driven to do more than that. You just need somebody there to help you there because I've been in that position where, like my business now has actually been in function or in thought and creating for 10 years. But when you don't have the right person backing you, you sit, it goes dormant. And it's not that you don't want to be more. It's not that you don't want to help get this extra money and push and drive yourself, but it requires somebody behind you. And I think a woman that's a good helpmeet, that's willing to do that and make her role balance with the man's role, that's what's so needed now. So big shout out to you for even having that mind state in this day and time where it's like you don't have the bag, you can't even talk.
right. Well, thank you. Yeah, I just don't see things that way. And as long as somebody has that motivation, as long as they have that ambition, I can work with that. There's tons of stuff I can do. I was in school for business management, like I don't mind putting in the work. I was a restaurant manager for years. I had a daycare for years. So there's a lot of options out there, but it's always easier with two going in the same direction than it is one.
See, and that's what I really respect that you're not making your own end game something impossible. And I think that's what too many of us do. We try and shoot for the impossible instead of saying, hey, you know what? I just want to live this life. It didn't have to be perfect. I just really, because nobody really truly want to be alone. You can be alone. You may not mind it, but who wants? That's not life. And we created to be a people talking, communicating, keep life going. So, um, it takes humility for that. And from what I see today, a lot of people don't have that humility to just simply be like, hey, it's not perfect, but I want to give this a shot. I want to do this because the more people don't understand with relationships and anything, poly or monogamous, it takes years and time to get the experience you're actually asking for. It's going to take time.
People amaze me because they want everybody to see perfect, the perfection, but it's not real. Like you have no idea how many times you see this perfect little picture of these people standing in front of their picture perfect house, but really what's going on behind the doors is terrible. Bruises being covered up, glass breaking, shouting, screaming. I would rather take our little two-bedroom house with a happy laughter sitting in front of a fire every night than I would angst and anger anytime.
Right. And the simpler things to me keep it less complicated. Really does. And just being somebody that's working from the bottom up, you always gonna respect that hard work. You know things take time. Nothing is just directly given to you. So you got a different work ethic, different mind. It's just a big difference in where you can go. You honestly, by keeping it real with yourself, knowing your limitations, you learn more about life than to be living a lie or trying to get the impossible, and you make life not work. You complain more. 1 second, let me just bring my brother on. You can unmute your mic, brother Emmanuel. I don't know if you can hear me, big brother, but you definitely could unmute your mic. Rebecca, it's Queen, you could jump back in. Okay, here we go. We got you back. I was wondering what happened. But
I'm
yeah,
not
it was your turn. Okay, so he dropped off. But go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, but that's just where I look at it from. I'm just, I feel like so many of us are not chasing the right dreams, you know? Like my friend, I love her to death, but everything about her that she shows the world is materialistic, you know? The guy has to have the perfect teeth, he has to have the right car. What are you looking for? What kind of car does he drive? That's really your first question? If you ask
Mm,
me, if I get a question and say, well, how does he treat his mom? Or, how does he around his family? Or, how does he treat strangers on the street? I'm going to be more curious to see how he treats the homeless guy asking him for $1 than I am what kind of car he drives. Like, to me, that's just not important. Like, I don't care if you have a hoopty, a pickup truck, a new Benz. Like, that really doesn't tell me about you, because for all I know, you could be in human trafficking making that money,
mm,
and that's such a huge topic, right? We know people are getting sold and bought left and right for all kinds of reasons.
mm-hmm.
um that's really around every corner.
You
A lot
right.
of
The material world is like it's almost like cheese being dangled over a rat trap for you. It's like just like that.
It is everywhere. I actually had my own run-in with what I am sure was some kind of kidnap attempt. And I saw it twice when I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. And let me tell you, it was completely set up. There was people in the store working teams to follow people and try to follow them outside. And there was teams of people in white vans parked around the corners waiting. And it was scary. It was really scary to see how fast. And then when I looked it up online, because I'm like, that was not a coincidence. The way they were looking at each other, and it wasn't a coincidence at all. Um, I looked online and there was actually a lot of reports about it. And then also that one where you smell the stuff and it makes you pass out, so they can take you that way. I forget the name of what they were saying it was, but that's been a really big thing going around too, trying to have people smell perfumes, but it's really so that you get disoriented in the parking lot and you get kidnapped.
Yeah, that's actually scary. And you know what? That it reminds me of this show I used to watch on YouTube. Um, it was called Bad Trips Abroad, and you would go to a foreign country or whatever, and the people at the bar was connected to the people that do cabs, which is connected to the hospital, which is connected to the debt collectors. So basically, you go to a bar, they get some guys to act up on you, jump you. Now you got to call a cab. The bar gives you the assigned cab guy. So you're not going to reach nobody else. Then the cab guy takes you to whichever clinic or hospital they got this thing going on at. And one of the stories was the guy was like, yeah, I had to call America. I had to try and get some kind of attorney general or somebody here because they weren't letting the guy go. They said unless he give up 40,000, you can't get out the hospital, and he was injured. So they got to keep the equipment, all of his photography equipment. They basically robbed the guy out there. He couldn't do anything. So that kidnap life is real, and it can happen to an entire family in another country. 1 second here. Big shout out to you, Desiree. You know you're always welcome to come on. You can jump on, say anything you want. You know how it go. Um, if you do want to come on, just let me know. You know we here. Big shout out to you, Desiree. But go ahead, Queen. You know it's your go.
Yeah, that and there's a scam in Puerto Rico. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but you go and there's the casinos out there. So you go and you go to the casino and you get the safe in your room. Well, when you hit, they will wait for you to leave and they will go in your room and go in the safe and take the money. And when you come back, they'll just act like they don't know what you're talking about. They had nothing to do with it. You call the police, police do absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Absolutely nothing. You are on your own. And it's been going on for years. And you know the police are in on it because they're not doing anything. They're not coming and taking fingerprints and none of that, you know?
Hey, big shout out to you, Deidre. Again, these are all open discussions live. You want to come on, you could be on cam or off cam. You want to bring anything up about an upcoming event. This is all open for everybody. But thank you, of course, Queen. Like I said, she hit me up earlier, so she made this happen. So I'm thanking her for this conversation, because I probably would have went off in a little bit because I kind of didn't have a topic. Um, so but thank you for that. So yeah, discussing human trafficking, that's really tough, and it's happening everywhere and a lot more often because this is just what I'm seeing as far as society. The parents haven't stopped being their teenage selves, which leaves all their kids vulnerable. I'm watching a whole bunch of parents. They're out playing around, doing what they're supposed to do. Mind you, they're not even at the age they should be doing this, honestly. Because at some point, your older self got a kick in to be like, hey, I got to get whatever these last few years I want to live them healthy, decent, good. But by them being out, now your kids is either home or you giving your kids so much freedom. They at a friend's house. It's just a lot of stuff that's happening. And I believe they say is they leave zip ties on your car handle door or something like that. That kind of the indicator that you're supposed to be a kidnap victim.
Well, they were doing several things. They were putting the money laced with this stuff that so if you touch it, it gets you. And like on people's cars and throwing that down on the ground and stuff to get people. They were doing that thing where they throw the eggs at your car windshield. So when you turn the egg wipers, when you turn your wipers on, it smears the egg so you can't see and you have to stop in the middle of the road and so they can get you. Um, all kinds of stuff. Like it's going anywhere. And it's just not human trafficking, it's for organ harvesting too.
Yes.
They is on the highest rise, and it's really unfortunate that just like with so many of the other profitable markets out there, that it's the one percenters, the people who have the money are there making this happen. They're the ones that when they want an organ right away. They're the ones making billions off of human trafficking. I mean, all the babies being sold everywhere is insane.
And
It is.
I heard that a while, like years ago, actually, that they were doing that. It happens with, especially from the reports I'll be looking up on the black community because of the deaths. Not every organ is hit. Not everything is damaged. So, and because a lot of us are, mother, father isn't around, your organs are gone before you hit the hospital or before wherever you go. A lot of times, all of that stuff is gone. And like you say, it is the rich people because they
Mm.
need to live longer to continue to do whatever madness they may be doing or causing. but they really do this to keep us alive. And that's why even becoming an organ donor, which I thought of doing at one time. And then we had a sister tell a story that she was an organ donor and she was driving her car. It's one of the automatic ones, electric, push button to start. And her car stopped right on the train tracks. She said driving normal. And she said when it stopped on the train tracks, everything locked down. Car, no electricity, no power. And she said it happened after her, like not right after, but when she signed to be an organ donor, this kind of happened in a way. While but she said something happened, power came on, locks came up, and her car shot past the tracks. So I'm like, well, maybe she was set up to be a hit for an organ. I don't know, but it was just an eye-opening experience.
Well, that would be very odd because you would most likely be very damaged far beyond being able to recover any of your organs if you were hit with a train. But I don't know. People
Yeah.
amaze me all the time. I am constantly amazed by people's evil and greed, selfishness. I mean, it really, like, people always, oh, I'm not surprised when people know, people shock the hell out of me all the time. I mean, I don't think there's been a month that's gone by that I haven't seen someone do something that made my jaw drop or had learned something. Even all the stuff in history they keep trying to cover up and rewrite, and it amazes me. I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was super cute. It was a bunch of little, like, kids in kindergarten or something showing you their, favorite person from the African history, and you had, Martin Luther King and all, but you had Rosa Parks. And the little girl was so cute being a little Rosa Parks and stuff. But the fact that these Black teachers are still teaching, like Rosa Parks was the first Black woman to give up her seat, when by now we should all have that out of the history books. Claudette should be in there, the real first Black woman to refuse to give up her seat. They didn't want her in the history books because she was an unwed, pregnant Black woman. So she wasn't the look they wanted. They
Mm.
wanted a nice married Black woman. So they put Rosa in there. And the fact that the schools know so many of these things in this book are not true, but they continue to teach it year after year. They continue to teach you less about all the terrible things that we did to people and just skew everyone to their views. But if we don't make sure that the kids know the history, what's going to happen? It's going to repeat itself, right?
Exactly. And that's a really good point because I have to say, and I thought it was just me that was singing this, but I kept saying, why is Black History Month the same people? I mean, it's local people you can shout out, right?
Am I right? Like, we can look up hundreds, thousands of Black people that did incredible things. Why the hell are we only talking about during Black History Month? And why do we only talk about the same couple people over and over? What?
Exactly.
Why cannot we can't teach about everybody, and why can't we teach the truth? Why can't we come forward now and admit to how we got this country, how we came here and we stole land and we raped these women and we took their children from them, and tons of those children were murdered, but we're trying to come forward. No, we don't want to tell people the truth. People don't want to know about ugly things, and it's just like, we have to admit to what we've done. We have to right wrongs. We have to change things.
Mm.
I mean, hell, at one point we had black zoos. Have you ever seen those pictures?
I have.
How hard was that on your heart?
Yeah, it was rough because it took me time to learn a little bit of the history because even today, being a Black person, most of the time you'll say Africa, but where? Or it's just a lot of identity gone, and you have to kind of rediscover it. And like you say, it's being hidden very well. And if you say something, there's trouble. If you um, even from your own people, you know that you can be labeled a troublemaker, anything like that. And I gotta really give
I'm
it up for your
guilty.
honesty because you telling it true. You know, a lot of things are hidden, and we do see the same things in Black History Month. We not seeing nothing new or no other achievements from even from the local level. And that's why, you know, at some point I hope to maybe even do news on a local level, bring some of the local heroes up instead of the same old people that maybe even we can't, you know, garner any strength off anymore because it's just repetitive to us to hear the same old speech, but it's not driving no one anymore.
But people don't even want to recognize how limited like the skew is on the good from the black community when we're only teaching these young white kids about these same 15 people over and over their whole lives. They're not walking around learning all the inventions all around them every day by people with all different skin colors. It's the same couple of people over and over, and it drives me insane. Like, we're really trying to build something together, but we still got so many teachers doing wrong. Let me tell you what happened to my daughter the day before yesterday. She came home from school and she was really upset. She starts telling me about how this teacher went on in what she described. Like, this teacher was kind of really going at a fit with her feelings because there was only two black kids in the classroom, my daughter and another child, and she had the nerve to single them out. Well, not my daughter, the other black child, and do this whole thing about why is it gotta be Black Lives Matter? All lives matter, don't they? Tell me, why don't all lives matter? And then the teacher stopped talking, and then she started ranting again, and she went back like four times. And it started over what she's allowed to talk about and what she's not, and how she could get fired if she asked certain questions. And then she proceeded to ask the questions anyway, just wording it differently. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here listening and looking at my daughter's frustration. And this is the third time that she's really been singled out in some kind of harsh way or not being treated fairly. And unfortunately, the first time was when a little white girl, when she was little, I think she was like third or fourth grade, it was elementary school, told her, "We don't like your kind. Why don't you go back to where you came from?" And of course, we took it up the ladder. We went to the principal, which was black. I really went in there with the mind frame that this principal was going to be very upset as a black woman who's had a fight to get to where she is, and she did absolutely nothing. Why did she do absolutely nothing? I don't know. I don't have any facts other than the fact that her parents are a donor to the school.
Mm.
And with her being a black principal, I don't think she wanted to ruffle any feathers. But then I thought to myself how hard it must be for her to have to keep her mouth shut and stay in her place and go home with that, knowing that not only is she doing nothing, but she's allowing my daughter to be hurt.
Yeah,
Just
that's rough right there. It's going on, big brother Emmanuel. I wanted to
Yeah, how
quickly
y'all?
chime in on that. That's a rough point because it's like a double-edged sword because you got the teacher can't say nothing because she got her problems. You got the student who's trying to make the complaint. So it's like, right, nobody's going nowhere, getting anywhere right now. And I feel like we supposed to you gotta speak up at some point because at the end of the day, you not saying nothing comes back to you anyway, some way. And it's gonna be bad because you don't know what damage that child is going through by you not speaking up. And then we know what happens when kids go to school, they get bullied, and they cannot speak to no one. It often will lead to You got your suicides, you got the killings, and it's a messed up deal because a lot of stuff could have been avoided. People don't want to speak up. Yeah, you don't want to lose your job, but what about your integrity too? And sometimes that gets you more respect if you was to speak up and say, "Hey, I'm a principal. I got a voice here. Like I'm not, I get all of the fun. I'm here. I'm funding the school or whatever. But come on, we got to have some kind of class on integrity here too, because I mean, we keep saying we want things to be fixed, but who you have to want that to happen. You have to want that.
True. Well, I try to go over in my head and try to put myself in her shoes with what options she might have, what she could do, hurt, what it might harm. And it took me back to when I talked to this black police officer, and he was telling me like how it works. Like basically, you can't step on any toes, you can't call anybody out, but at the same time, you can only work on change from the inside, but you had to do it cautiously. Careful who you said what to and what about, that he wanted to make a difference. But as so much as what he saw, there's nothing he could do about it. And so he took his time until he could retire. Um, but that the more black people that get on the force and the more little steps they take, it is making a change. But it's such a slow change in the brotherhood. And when I say brotherhood, we know that the police started KKK groups, and there's still those roots out there. And that's a lot to fight back against. And that so many of these people who are not racist are still very prejudiced. And the sad part is a lot of people don't even know.
That's definitely true. Definitely true. Big brother Emmanuel, you got anything you want to say?
Uh, First of all, how both of y'all doing this evening? Um,
So,
it's a as far as from what I'm hearing, it just seems like it's a breakdown in the structure and order of life as a whole because we're supposed to, like how they say in New York, you see something, say something. You're not supposed to be worried about how could you feel about a situation when it's wrong, especially when it's affecting children. So at the end of the day, a lot of people in those positions, it's like their hands are tied because they don't want to, like you said, sis, they don't want to mess their money up. They don't want to look bad in front of the boys in blue or whatever the case may be, but it's affecting the children. My question is, so what do we do about the children? Do we not care about the children? Do we continue the cycle or do we break the chains?
that I think we have to focus on breaking every single chain, every one of them, raising our kids stronger and stronger so they continue to fight. And teaching them, I think that's the big part, is we have to teach them what the schools aren't going to. They have to know
Right.
the truth, just like they need to know their rights. As a white woman, it's devastating to me to have to sit my black children down and teach them. And I had to do this with my 13-year-old son the other day, who is 5'11", 250 pounds, wearing a size 13 shoe. Okay.
Just like my son.
Yeah, he's a big boy, but my son has autism level 2. Um, he wants friends, he wants to impress people, and he really doesn't understand the difference in how he's going to be treated based on his color yet. And so having to explain to him, hey, because him and his friends wanted to walk to the gas station, and his friends are white. And so I'm like, you do know, doesn't matter what happens, if the police yell stop, if they're questioning you, if they're coming after you, and your friends mouth off and start talking back or cussing, or they decide to run away, you cannot do that because you will be the one handcuffed or shot. they will come after you first, because not only are you big, which intimidates them, but the color of your skin makes you the first target. And I had to do that alone as a single mom, which I'm extra salty about. Like I am salty about that part. You know, I'm better off by myself without their father, but it's very hard having to explain to somebody with a different color skin that their skin makes them a target and not having that support.
That's rough. And I want to bring up something on that. How important is how important is it for other races to understand when the importance of having a black child? Like how important it is to tell them what they can and can't do, and like you're saying, having a like my son, he's what he'll be 15 this year, tall as a tree, feet as big as a car, and he's in that stage where he looks, he can look like a grown up. And then you know how New York is. Everybody got hoodies, masks, even in the summertime. So, and it's something that I worry about in the back of my mind. Like, will he be mistaken for a criminal? Will he be mistaken for somebody robbing? If he run away because he's scared for his life, will he be shot? And I don't think everybody kind of grasps that part. Because
Oh,
sometimes you're not doing foolish things to get the karma back. Sometimes it's happening to you right there. But how important it is for other races who may have black children, what's the importance of telling them, hey, things are kind of limited here?
you know, I don't think it's just the races with dark skinned children. I think it's all races need to be teaching their kids this, because I think the little white kids, Hispanic kids, they all need to know that there are risks and there are injustice. And like the little white kids need to know, if you're out, your friend could get hurt by something that you do. You know, you could start arguing with that cop and you could get him tensed up and you could get your friend shot. Like, I think it's very important, especially for the good-hearted, nice people that really want to believe in innocence and fairness, and they don't see all this racism. Maybe it's not in their circle. Maybe there's just not a lot of black people where they live. And that happens. I've met a lot of really good-hearted white people who, if they saw someone being treated wrong, would speak up. People who do treat everybody with respect. But when I have conversations around them and I listen to what they say, they are completely clueless to how it really is for Black people in this world. They would look, no way, like, no way, that wouldn't happen. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how do I explain to them? Like, how do I pull up enough data and research and sit down to make them really understand? And when you do, when you pull out all that information and you show it to them, you break their hearts because they really thought that the world had came so much farther than where it has. And that's where you can really see the people who care and really don't. But the people who just look the other way, those are the people who are really hurting us, because they're the ones letting so many people get away with it, or the people that are okay as long as it's not their people, you know? Like, oh, that's terrible. I hate that little, whatever got shot, but I'm glad you're okay. They feel bad, they may maybe even check on the family, but then a few days or a few weeks later, they're back to living their life and they're not doing anything about it. And the media
Mm,
plays such a huge role in making us think about something else whenever they don't want us focused on something. I don't know if you notice that, but during all the biggest times in our life where people are ready to commit to change and do something, they throw something else out there that they make a much bigger deal. And the manipulation within the media is huge. There is nothing that can make people think more strongly about something than the media. If the media comes on tonight and tells everybody that there's a virus, make sure you turn your ACs down to 60 degrees tonight, or the virus could live in your house, or whatever, people are going to listen because it's the media. but they don't realize how bought and paid for the media is.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Let
true.
me,
That media. Oh, go ahead, brother Emmanuel.
yeah, just real quick. Queen Shy. It's like, all right, I'm a combat veteran, right? I've been to Iraq, I've been to Kuwait,
Thank you for your
and I'm,
service.
oh, not a problem. The point I'm trying to get to is most of these police officers shouldn't wear a badge or uniform or be issued a gun. The majority of them are scared because
Are
your son, being, you said 5'10", 250, size 15, to me, he's not intimidating. A lot of them are just scared. And then the other side of the scenario is when it comes to black children or black men or black women getting shot down by the police, yes, that happens, but it happens to other races too. It's just not as publicized in the media, like you were saying, when it's the other races. So like I have five sons and one daughter, and my job is not to put fear into them, but just to make sure that they're aware of what goes on. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't really matter the nationality or race of a person. Most police, they're undertrained. They don't have enough qualifications. Most of them was punks in high school. So remember Akai Gurley, remember that bro in the pink houses in Brooklyn? It was the Asian cop. He was walking up the hallway, up the stairs in the dark, and he seen somebody. He just shot him because he was scared. So a lot of times they're saying intimidation. They just use these words. They have trigger words that they use to get out of scenarios. So it looks like they was defending their life when in all reality they was just scared and they shouldn't even be there because I was in Iraq. I remember one time me and a couple buddies, we was leaving the gate and it's this tall grass to the right. I was in a Humvee. It was tall grass to the right. Like as tall as probably like a suburban on the right side, and I see figures moving in the grass. So I pulled out my rifle and I was about to fire, but I didn't. And when I didn't, the figures came closer and it was little children. You see, I had a choice to either fire and kill them and get away with it or don't do it and really assess the situation. A lot of cops, they just shoot and then they know that they got the PAB and all of these lawyers to make their story stick, etc., like that. So I'm not saying put fear in your son. Just let them know what goes on, and it's all nationalities. It's just mainly publicized when it comes to the so-called African Americans here in America.
Well,
That's a good point. Go
look
ahead,
at it.
Shaw.
Yeah, there is a lot more white people killed by the police and in police custody than any other race or even all the other races combined, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
But the percentage of black people is higher because, well, based on the percentage of black people that we have. Like we have that it's still like what 13% black people in America. But
Right,
based on that, it's a
right,
higher but the amount because I looked up the facts and I posted them on my Facebook and just because I feel like you are really right there with the police training. I mean, we go to cosmetology school to do hair for 2 years. The police is 6 months. They're
right.
scared, they're undertrained, they have not been through it, and they're shaking. I almost got shot by a cop, a lady cop, actually. I was doing a modeling shoot in an abandoned parking lot, and here she comes running around the corner, gun drawn, aimed right at my head, shaking. She was trembling. And she was so angry when she saw that we were just taking a photo. He had the big camera and lights out and whatever. And she's like, "Get the fuck out of here. I almost shot you." And you could see her hands tremble.
Yep.
I got to make a point on that too. Um, I've seen where, because sometimes I watch an excellent news channel. I encourage all y'all to. It's called WION, WION. best news channel because they hit the world with their news. And when you watch like for instance, they got protests going on in almost every country now. You see it in France, you see it in a whole bunch of countries. And y'all are right. It's not just blacks that are just, directly being killed or assaulted by cops. I've seen them, man, just nightstick whoever's in front of them, white, black, Indian, whatever. And it's, and I think it's like, that protection, like you said, brother Emmanuel, it's the protection they get. And I can't remember the author's name, but he dropped, I believe it was a book called The Fascist State. And it goes into that where the cops and it's so much law going on in a sense where like if they can have it to where you just don't say nothing and obey, that's the real thing. Obey. And they're gonna do it by any means. They get off, like you say, the DAs, judges, everybody's gonna back them because it's a system set in play. And they do target all races. Everybody is under this gun right here. Because the one thing that I do know, I don't know if anybody ever read that book called Behold the Pale White Horse. And it goes into all of the small things that our government do that garners control over us. One of the major problems is population control. And those are the ones that it don't matter race, your mama name, nothing. They need you off because they need to live. And it took Christ for me to learn it's a war, but we can't be racist if we're looking to win this war. Because like you said, there's going to be good whites, blacks, Indians, Chinese, whoever. They're good. And they have a love for their race, which everybody's supposed to have. But they also don't like seeing tyranny happen. And those are the ones that we got to start gravitating towards. That's why, like me, I'll admit, I was kind of a bit of a not I was hate filled. I'll say that. I was hate filled. And the brother Emmanuel who's on with me can testify. I knew him over 10 years. And I was hate filled at one point. Couldn't see nothing. You couldn't tell me nothing. And me and him both took these kind of journeys. And when you deal with Christ, you just can't walk that way no more. And eventually you start seeing why. And you get empowered by why you shouldn't walk that way. And you realize it's not too many of us, but we literally all are going against the principles and powers that be. But yeah, that's it. But y'all keep going.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think
Also, excuse me, real quick. You said a trigger word for me, brother. Tyranny. That's a trigger word. Most people don't know what the Second Amendment is actually for. Number one, the Second Amendment is not me and Daquan. We have a beef, so we go back to back 10 paces, turn around and shoot each other. That's not what the Second Amendment is about. The Second Amendment is really for the public or the civilians or the citizens to go against the government when they came with their tyranny, when they came with their police forces, when they institutionalized the jail systems and targeted minorities or the majorities or whoever, population control, poison in the food, poison in the water, all of that. We're supposed to take it to them. But like you said earlier, Sister Queen Shy, that the media, they have a stronghold on our minds. So whenever something major goes on, they throw something at us to change our whole mood. So now instead of us taking it to them, we back to fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the Second Amendment is actually about. When you read the Constitution, that's another thing too. They don't like smart people, no matter the race, color, ethnicity, religion. They don't like people that read and know the law. That's what the Second Amendment is about. And if it was more people, I'm gonna say minority people or just people in general, if everybody had life insurance and it was over $250,000, the police killers will go down because the insurance companies will not want to pay this money out.
Very true. If you look at who owns
Mm,
all those insurance companies, and it's very true. Years ago, I started trying to backtrace the different companies that were running the crops and the farmers and the food and controlling everything. And it kept going back. If you kept going far enough, it's like the same 10 families over and over again that were profiting off of so much. It really blows your mind if you keep digging to see who's benefiting off of this.
yeah, and I
Right.
gotta say this too. I'd be remiss if I didn't. I just want to give a big shout out to you, Queen Shah, because as a Caucasian woman, knowing you dealing with black children, that's a whole conversation that's kind of difficult to have. And that's why I always say the people that are doing good, like me, myself, Brother Emmanuel, you, these are the ones that Christ want to come together to try to figure this out, because we all are battling those kind of powers. And at the end of the day, it's better to have somebody else on your side when the government decide to turn than to be alone. And I feel like we all got to start coming with that mind state that Christ told us to do, because if not, we all gonna be separated. And now we fighting all our problems alone, no support. When all you need to do is reach out and actually be there for somebody. And I feel like, this is that time we pushing closer, things getting harder. The world is running amok. Ice sheets melting. We not too far off from this thing, and we got to get it together. And for the late great Paul Mooney, he said we can put all the problems on hold until we get them, because they're fishbowling us. So we need to come together to a consensus and say, hey, my race is doing this for you, you doing this for me. And hell, if our races don't want to participate on the individual level, I'm coming here to you, you coming to me, and we got to get this thing figured out. So I just want to say I appreciate you coming on with your point of view. Certain things I know ain't easy. And I think as the black community, we need to hear more from the other races who do have children of color, and what we can do to better help, and what y'all can better do to help us, because we all got one another's children somewhere. So it's best we learn this stuff now and stop being salty and bitter for our whole lives.
It is, but it's really hard for the older generations that that have been so full of hate for so long, lived in fear for so long. You ever met those people? I'm sure you have. The ones that are still yes sir, no sir right away, especially if they see someone that's white, the ones that hold their heads down, they hurry along because they were from that time, they remember that time, they lived with it. Like, it's not that long ago. When we look at what rights that we have, even as women, it's not that long. Um, Black people, it's not that long ago. Like, we are changing. There is more people to support, and with social media, as much as I hate it for my kids, like I hate that my kids can hear a word, like my daughter heard Pornhub, or no, XNXX, so some porn site. She heard some people talking about, what does she do? Hop on her phone and saw things I never wanted her to see, things I never wanted to see. But it's just so fast. It's so easy now to spread the word, which I think is helping us. I think we're catching more police, we're catching more things in school. I think we're really able to help a lot more with it in some ways, but it's been devastational for a lot of ways for these kids. Like, it's taking away their youth.
Exactly right. And like I said, it's just gonna take brave people. We all gotta want to do something and all want to make a change. Um, we pushing into an hour, 20 minutes. I don't know, gotta work tomorrow. And I'm just not trying to be holding people too long because good combos will
I
go on for
appreciate
hours.
I appreciate you having me on. I got to get going. I got my youngest. I actually need to
Oh
get to bed.
yeah, for sure. But I thank you a lot for coming on. You always welcome on. Just definitely let me know whenever you want to conversate. We'll jump right on with you. And I appreciate that coming on for today and making this
Let me
show.
tell you guys, I don't have a huge reach or anything, but anytime there's anything going on that we can share to spread any information, any good, I'm always happy to share it. I speak in facts for anybody who will listen. If they don't want to listen, that's okay. But I'm always happy to share and do whatever I can.
And I thank you for that. But I ain't gonna hold you no
Beautiful.
longer, and I appreciate you. But y'all have a good night.
All right, good night.
Yeah, man, that was a real good conversation. I really got to give it up for the sister for coming on and just kind of bringing a point of view that really ain't it's not talked about too much. I really give a lot of respect to that because it's like I said, it's a tough situation I have to deal with, and it's not as easy to bring it up. But I don't know if you have any final words, Emmanuel, because like I said, I don't want to be holding people. We pushing time.
No. I ain't got too much. Oh, I want a big shout out. One of my brothers, Elijah. He's got a job offer for 90 to 100 something $1,000 down in Miami, and the brother is not even 23 years old, brother.
Woo! Now that's good, and then we need brothers like that, especially if they
Yup.
on the right path early.
Mm-hmm.
Said that they'll keep the community running for a long time the earlier you start like this, and that's where I feel like brothers got to push themselves to forget all that life that looks good outside. You need to be doing what he did, because if somebody would have
Right.
taught me, I could have probably been doing that at his age too, but
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there.
Yeah. Other than that, that's it, man. Keep God first, man. Do what you're supposed to do. Take care of your family. Provide, brothers, sisters. Stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? Everything will work itself out.
All right, man. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for all tuning in tonight. This was an awesome show. Y'all definitely should watch rewatch it if you get time. Um, and big shout out to everybody in the comment section. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. Much appreciated. Much love, y'all. This all happened because of y'all. Y'all helped me to be able to come this far, so I appreciate everything. Again, big shout out to Sister Queen Shah for jumping on. Again, I'm going to be doing these often. Again, they're just for people to come on. They're open discussions, any events coming up, things you want to mention. You can always DM me, or if you see me live, just ask, for the link and I'll shoot you on the show. So y'all have a good night. We should be back at this thing tomorrow. I'm not sure of the time, but I'll send some reminders out. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Thank you again, Brother Emmanuel, for jumping on,
Not a
man.
problem. Y'all have a good night.
Y'all have a good night, y'all.